You're listening to Sports and More with Chris and Tom. Oh, hey. Yeah, we're on.
I'm eating an Oreo, man. You caught me during my snack.
Hey,
Oh, man.
snack time is after the show.
Now.
Snack time after the
It's
show.
all up in my teeth. Look at that. Oh, gosh, that's bad. That's bad. That was not expected. Okay, I should have, but a little bit of Oreo ASMR there. No, not really. All right, well, it's welcome back. It's the guys with the face of radio and the voices for a silent movie.
This is Sports and More with Chris and Tom. I am Chris.
And I am Snack Time Tom.
And we have Molly in the background with barking because she is looking out the window that has the blinds down because Molly is nuts.
Guest star, Molly Miller.
So sorry, guys, if she's barking. She's
Wow.
actually looking out the window, and she's not.
Yep.
So sorry if this happens throughout the night.
It's all good. It's all good. Understand. And, I got kiddos on the monitor over here, too, so I may need to run away, too. Man, we are. We have our obligations. But kicking this off with an interesting one, to say the least. We've just found out within the past couple of hours that Jeremy Giambi, brother of Jason Giambi from the MLB, has passed away in his home. This was a news report given. Well, I guess the initial story was given by the family. It was broken by the family and others throughout the industry. Different writers and reporters have been sharing the story on social media, saying that the family wants to kind of keep to themselves and ask that they respect their privacy. But longtime MLB player Jeremy Giambi is dead, and which they have not released the cause of death, and I don't expect them to do so anytime soon. Obviously, they want to take their time to do that, but that's just something that we have found out within the past couple of hours.
I mean, it's a shame to see a former MLB player go, or anyone go, for that matter, at such a young-ish age. I'm guessing he's late 40s, early 50s. I'm guessing it was his age.
I'd say probably somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
He played. He was like late 20s, early 30s when we watched him play.
Yeah,
right?
and he played for the A's. He wasn't much of a baseball player per se.
Played for the Yankees too.
He wasn't much of a ball player per se because he had his brother Jason, who was the big slugger. Rah, 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 I have muscles. Rah, 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 I take all the steroids. And Jeremy just wasn't. He didn't get that jack, so he didn't end up being that much of a monster home run hitter. So he was a decent player, I remember, but not like great.
But still a part of our childhood growing up watching ball, because he was a name that you recognized. You recognized the Giambi name. Yeah. Whether it was Jason or whether it was Jeremy, seeing that come across the ticker was, you knew at least, it was a recognizable name, I think, because of Jason. But once Jeremy kind of hit the scene, he didn't ever, like you say, prove to live up to what his brother had done. But still, to make it to that level, impressive nonetheless. So, again, the baseball world has lost another one. So, but on a slightly more upbeat note, I do want to actually give a little bit of a shout out to someone that that I know. My friend Jacob Schlosser, who you met, his Schlossboss, yeah. Jacob Schlosser, attorney at law. I don't have his business card in front of me, otherwise I'd hold it up. But his mom has actually just started a podcast herself.
Oh, fantastic!
It is called Blessed in This Mess, and you can find it on all of the podcast hosting sites that we're on, Apple, Google, Spotify, and a host of others. I don't know if it's necessarily on Anchor. But what she kind of focuses, it's a little bit out of our realm, but it focuses on kind of like life and as a family caregiver and things like that, because she's cared for her mom and other family members, and um, obviously she's got two boys as well, and so our age, and that was it's kind of a lot of focused on how to care for your family and how to deal with the stresses of that. Um, but you can also find her on her website, LoriSchlosser.com. It's LoriSchlosser.com. We'll put it in the description. But wonderful lady, awesome to talk to. So if you know someone who has that as an interest, I know that we're typically a sports and other similar interest type podcast, but she is a wonderful lady. So if you have that interest, go ahead and support her, give her a listen. And so just wanted to throw that out there. She doesn't need us to do this. I think she already has more followers on Facebook than us. But she's a super sweet lady, and I just wanted to say that it's awesome that she's getting to do this.
I think I only met her once, as at your wedding or like right around or after your wedding.
It was, yeah.
Very nice lady, very sweet lady, and I couldn't be happy to hear that she's on a podcast channel, and probably gonna outdo us on it, because she's probably got more talent than both of us combined.
She's obviously she's well connected too. She knows a lot of people and has met a lot of people over her life, and so she's probably gonna get a little bit more of a following. Plus, I think this might be this is one that she's very much an expert in, an area that she's an expert in. One story that I do want to share about Mrs. Schlosser is I've known Jacob since I was about 5 or 6 years old. And I knew that I had kind of become more than a friend. I was basically like family there when I got invited to his brother's high school graduation party. And after the party, or as the party was winding down, I get handed a trash bag by his mom.
Yep.
It's like, and it wasn't even like, hey, you're gonna be here, don't be lazy, take this. It was like kind of like, hey, you're around, you've helped us out with a bunch of stuff before. Here, just you want to help us get things going faster. Your family when it's kind of like, you do the chores too.
Yeah.
You do the cleanup too. So like, that was when I knew like I made it.
Yeah. You're in the family. Gotta clean up too now.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, moving on into our normal content, because this is a sports and more content. So we are going to roll along with our usual stuff like a Canadian trucker rolls along.
And but it's going to be a little bit different. Like a Canadian trucker, we're going to actually go into it with Tom's take. So let's hit you with that sweet, sweet intro, peoples.
Let's get serious, because this is Tom's Take.
All right, so it shouldn't be a surprise. I know I put on a surprise face for those that are watching this on YouTube, but I knew it was coming because it was my idea. Short Tom's Take tonight. So the Oreo snacking was by design. This is a normal Oreo. You see there? Not a whole lot going on in between those cookies. My complaint here is that is not enough filling. You need, I personally believe that the double stuffed Oreos, that amount of filling should be the standard. So recently we did an Instacart Aldi order and ordered double stuffed Oreos. My wife did. Loves double stuffed Oreos. One of her favorite snacks. And what was delivered was regular Oreos, because when they don't have something, they'll replace it with a similar item. Nothing about this is similar. Okay, it is not acceptable. I am here to say that double stuffed Oreos should be the standard amount of cream between the cookies. That is not enough. This should be like Oreos light or something like that. But I'm also here to say that the regular chocolate Oreos, not a fan. I'll eat them, whatever, but my favorite ones, the golden Oreos. So the best of the best, in my opinion, would be a golden double stuffed Oreo. And you can fight me about it in the comments. That is all that I have.
That's it? That's all you have?
Yeah, that's it. It really wasn't much.
I have to agree.
I made it sound like it was going to be... I made it sound like it was going to be way more controversial when we were talking earlier this week.
No, like you said, double stuff should be the standard Oreo. Like, yes, absolutely, that should be the standard size of Oreo. Now, I may
Like,
disagree on the
I
chocolate.
don't know anyone who actually purposefully buys these ones.
My brother
Like, look at
Alex.
that.
My brother Alex did.
That's
I know. I looked
that's
at him
not
like,
enough.
I looked at him like, dude, you got this regular Oreos. Like, that's the ones I like. I looked at him like, you're
Like
nuts.
when double stuff is right next to them, like
I mean,
why would you?
I mean, hey, you've seen me put a double stuff and just stack two double stuffs together and just make a quadruple stuff, Oreo. Well, that's how you do it.
And now don't they make a mega stuff?
They do,
which
which is like
basically that?
fantastic.
See, in my mind, the double stuff should be the regular.
Yeah.
This should be half stuffed, and then the mega stuffed should be the new double stuff.
Hey, the regular Oreos should just be called Diet Oreos.
Diet Oreos. They do make Oreo thins,
Yeah.
but those are like tiny little wafers.
Yeah.
Like that should be just like those should be the minis. Okay.
The minis, yes.
That's like those ones you could read the newspaper through, and I've just dropped it on.
I think the mini Oreos are better than the regular Oreos. I would have to think the mini Oreos are better than regular Oreos.
Because the filling to cookie ratio
is
proper
fantastic
for that small of a cookie.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't need as much filling in that one because the cookie's small.
Right.
This one you need more.
Yeah.
I definitely am going to step on that later on accident. It's right where I cannot. It's underneath my desk, like in the dark, shadowy part because it's night.
Yeah.
And I don't like. I'm probably going to put my feet on it. All right, we are way
off the track
where we started. This is where I knew this would go. That's why I didn't talk like just myself for a long time because I knew that you and I would have some back and forth about this, and then I'd end up, talking about some random thing. But your take on the golden Oreos, though, are they not better?
I'm more of a traditional chocolate guy. I'm not saying that's just me. I like golden Oreos, but I always go with the normal chocolate ones. That's just a me thing.
I've always been a fan of vanilla cookie, vanilla filling sort of.
See, I like the
thing.
vanilla.
I don't know. I'm a plain old vanilla guy, so I'm boring.
Oh, I like the vanilla stuff. It's not like I hate it. It's just like I prefer chocolate over vanilla. It's just my personal thing.
All right.
Although
got their
white
sticks,
chocolate,
so some people like the regular filling too. So
although white chocolate over dark chocolate every day of the week.
Oh, and twice on Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why.
100%.
I don't know why, but I do enjoy the white chocolate over dark chocolate. I don't know why that is, but I guess I'm weird like that.
White chocolate is my brother-in-law's nickname.
John Miller.
On the basketball court. Yeah. John Miller, yeah.
Of course. All right, we've gone off the rails here. We're off the rails.
So far off.
All right, let's talk about Super Bowl 56.
All right, now let's just talk about Super Bowl 56. You need to lead us in.
All right.
I'm not going to get us on the right track.
All right, so Super Bowl 56, as all of you may know, we have Super Bowl 56 coming up this Sunday. Is the LA Rams, the champions of the NFC, versus the Cincinnati Bengals, the champions of the AFC. That still sounds weird to say, but let's just give you guys a quick intro about how we got to this point with these two teams because, well, we said we were going to do that last week because, well, we just want to get to our main topic. So here we go, quick hits of the Rams. The Rams got here let's just look at last year alone. In 2020, they went 10-6, second in the West, 16 in the playoffs, and they eliminate the Seahawks in the playoffs, and they lose to Green Bay because Jared Goff just was injured, and he's just not that dude. Let's just be honest. He wasn't that dude. So what do they do to fix that problem? They go get Matthew freaking Stafford from the Lions and trade away Jared Goff, 2 first-round picks, and a third-round pick. They then, in the midseason, pick up OBJ from the Browns, and the Browns cut him. They also trade for Von Miller in the middle of the season for a second and a third-round pick, and they trade for Sonny Michel from the Patriots before the season starts. So they're just saying, give us all the veterans, all of them. All veterans, we'll take all of yours, and we don't care about having draft picks anytime in the next 10 years, apparently. Now, to get to the Super Bowl this year, they went 12-5, first in the NFC West, which I believe we both predicted. They were the 4th seed in the playoffs. Defeated the Cardinals 34-11 in the wildcard round. Defeated in a loose term. They shellacked them in the first round. Then withstood the epic Brady comeback to win 30-27 in the division round. And then beat the Niners in a slugfest 2017 in the title game. So they've won in a myriad of ways, showing their versatility, which reflects in their stats where they're the third most. They have the third most yards per game of offenses in the playoffs. Second in yards allowed per game. But they're only 4th in sacks, which was shocking. They only have 5 sacks, which is Shocking, considering you have Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Leonard Floyd all on the same D-line. And they've forced 0 turnovers. They've won 3 games forcing not a turnover, which is just odd. Although Stafford is 3rd in passing yards per game with 301.7. Cam Akers is 5th in rushing yards with 50.3. That's it. Per game. And that's 5th because no one runs the football anymore. Josh Allen is number 2 in the playoffs at 68.3. Okay, Josh Allen is 2nd place in average. But Cooper Kupp is smashing for the receiving yards at 120.7 per game. Of course, he's Cooper freaking Kupp. That's all he does is catch the football. Now, injury-wise, they have some questionables. Like Tyler Higbee got hurt in the NFC title game. It's reported he's 50-50. He's going to play or not. It's going to be a game-time decision. Andrew Whitworth, who's the 40-year-old left tackle who's retiring after this game. He's pretty much announced that already. He played the entire NFC title game, but he is questionable with an injury at 40 years old. You never know when an injury could flare up and be the death of you in the NFL. Jalen Ramsey's questionable. He's playing, though, guys. Just mark it down. He's playing this game. Van Jefferson's questionable, but he's been that. I think he missed the NFC title game, so I don't know. I don't think it matters if he plays or not, to be quite honest with you, because they still have Cooper Kupp and OBJ. And then Cam Akers is questionable with a shoulder injury. Again, he's the epic story of towards Achilles, came back for the playoffs. Hopefully he's able to play in the Super Bowl. And Sean McVay actually announced he is playing. This is just more like a preventative measure to say, hey, he's a little banged up. Let's keep him healthy. We need him for the run. And what are the big 3 storylines for the Rams going to this game? The first one I thought was, will Stafford win his first Super Bowl and bolster his Hall of Fame credentials? Because he's right now in that Phillip Rivers class where it's like, yeah, he's good, but he was never like the best guy in his class. He doesn't have the ring, so it's like hard to make the argument for the Hall of Fame for him. So this is a big game for him.
I've asked that question on this show. I don't know. Yeah. And I go back and forth because like you and I have talked about before, it's the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of the Very Good or the Hall of the Super Bowl champions, because let's face it, not every Super Bowl champion gets to go to the Hall of Fame. But I don't know. He's one of those guys who's always been a solid quarterback. He just hasn't had the talent around him. Now look what happens when he has talent around him. He makes it to the Super Bowl. But in doing that, does that prove anything? Yeah. I don't necessarily think so. I don't think 1 is enough. If he were to come back and do it again in the next 2 years, maybe. Yeah. Before the end of his career. But 1, I don't think is enough.
I mean, the thing with Stafford is he's always been in the top 10 of quarterbacks in his era. So it's like he's in that fringe. Like he's always been good enough. Like everyone looked at him and said he's probably good enough to win the Super Bowl. He just is playing in Detroit, and that's probably his problem.
Yeah, that's been his downfall. Yeah,
so it's going to be an interesting question. Another thing that I thought was a great mug that Les Snead, the GM of the Rams, had during his meeting after they announced the trade for Stafford was I'll just give you the quote. Will the Rams trade up F them draft picks pay off? Because he had a mug that said F them draft picks because they just trade away draft picks like no tomorrow and they don't care about draft picks, which is, I love that this is a team that has no draft picks. They say we don't need them. We'll just take all the veterans. Everyone who gets cut, we'll just take. Yeah. And we'll figure it out. We'll figure out the get from there on. So I like seeing dueling strategies play in the Super Bowl. So this should be fun to watch. And will this be a new strategy going forward? Because the Bears could use the strategy right about now.
Well, I mean, didn't they sort of throw caution to the wind with the Khalil Mack deal and not really get a whole lot out of? I mean, they gave up a lot of draft picks for one guy. Is that similar? But to a different degree.
No. The Rams have traded like every draft pick for like the next 3 years to get players on their team. It's and the Bears keep
that's very different.
And the Bears trade up to get into the first round, and the Rams say no, we're trading out of the first round. We're trading everyone out to get players who we know can play. So it's a slightly different strategy. Brian Pace was doing the dumb version of screw these draft picks.
That's true. Yeah.
All right. So then the third question is: will the Rams continue the trend of host teams winning the Super Bowl? And is this something we should be watch out for? As maybe the NFL, it could play into the conspiracy theory storyline, the tinfoil hat people, that the NFL is rigging it so host teams play in the Super Bowl because it's happened back-to-back years when it's never happened before, or it might not happen again since. So people might get a little bit tinfoil hatty about this subject.
I mean, they can get tinfoil hatty about all they want, but I mean, it is a little suspect when you see, okay, it's in Tampa Bay. Tom Brady is traded to Tampa Bay late in his career, wins the Super Bowl, first year at that team. And then you've got now another guy, Matt Stafford, at the tail end of his career, traded to a new team the same year that same team is hosting the Super Bowl. I'm not a tinfoil hat guy, conspiracy theorist about the NFL necessarily on this topic, um, but it does kind of make you think, like, wow, that's some thing happening going on there. Like, is that really? Is there really something more to it? Or is it just a coincidence?
That is one mighty
I
quinky
don't know. I tend to not. I tend to still hold out the hope that the NFL is not having that much manipulation.
Right. I would agree.
Knowing that they full well that they can,
Yeah.
but hoping that they aren't.
Well, knowing that what we know now is that I don't know if you saw the report that came out that the NFL did destroy evidence that was shown Brady was innocent in the whole Deflategate scandal. That report came out like a couple days ago. I was like, oh, well. It's like it shakes your faith in the credibility of the NFL, which we already knew it was like shaky to begin with. But I doubt they're rating it this badly that they will make sure that the host team's playing the Super Bowl. Because if that's the case, we need to check to see who's hosting Super Bowl 57 to see if Aaron Rodgers goes there in free agency if he gets traded. We have to check that out.
Shoot.
Well, they check that out. And
while you're talking next, I'm gonna. Has that been announced?
No, it probably has been announced already. They usually announce it a couple of years in advance.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out real quick.
All right, so Tom's gonna look, and I'm going to talk to you guys about the Bengals and how they get here. Well, in 2020, they went 4-11-1, last in the AFC North, 5th overall draft pick after picking 1st overall, and they got there because Joe Burrow tore his ACL in Week 11. The team was no good to begin with, so it didn't matter. It didn't really matter. He tore his ACL. The team was just bad, but they did acquire some big players like Jamar Chase, drafted 5th overall. Everyone was thinking they should have drafted Penei Sewell. Or Rashawn Coward, get a tackle to protect Joe Burrow. But instead, Molly, all right, they went the other way and said, let's get him a receiver, let's get him some weapons. And it looks like that paid off because Jamar Chase has 14 touchdowns and Penei Sewell didn't get his team out of the cellar with the Lions, although that is the Lions. But these are the Bengals, so that means nothing. They picked up Trey Hendrickson in free agency because the Saints couldn't pay him because the Saints have salary cap problems. And Trey Hendrickson, all he did was get 5th in the league in sacks this year. Riley Rife, a longtime tackle from the Lions, he went to the Bengals. He's not great, but he's not bad either. Mike Hilton, veteran corner from the Saints, Steelers, my bad, who's always been very good. Eli Apple, who's bounced around the league, has been playing very well this year. And they got Evan McPherson, in the 5th round, the kicker who said, hey, what do you know, coach, you're playing the AFC title game, as he's going in to kick the game-winning field goal, which he probably did. Say, hey, coach, we're going to play the Super Bowl. He probably did that too. We just haven't heard that story yet.
Probably, yeah.
Now, what happened in the season? They went 10-7 to win the AFC North. I cannot stress that enough. They won the AFC North with the Steelers, the Ravens, and the Browns in that division. How the heck that happened, I don't know. It helps when Lamar Jackson gets hurt with an ankle injury and can't play for the rest of the year, which Tom and I did not see coming. Even when he got hurt, we said he's probably going to play next week. Don't worry about it, guys. And we were like, oh, right. he never played again. Oopsies. So they were the 4th seed in the playoffs. They then beat the Raiders in a stunner at the last second, 26-19 with a pick to end the game. They then beat the Titans 19-16 in the division round on a walk-off field goal from Evan McPherson, and then beat the Chiefs 27-24 in overtime in Arrowhead Stadium with another walk-off kick by Evan McPherson to make it to the Super Bowl after being down by like 17 points, being just blown out the door by the Chiefs early on. It came all the way back to win. Now, how they've gotten there, you would assume they've been dominating the playoffs. You would assume that, right? Well, they're 8th in yards per game at 337.3 and 9th in yards allowed at 371. So they are allowing more yards than they're getting. But they're 3rd in sacks at 8 sacks a game, 8 sacks in the playoffs. And they're 1st in forced turnovers with 5. So they're getting sacks and turnovers. They're getting the key sets when they need them to win the game. Burrow is only 5th in passing yards at 280.7 per game. Tom Brady is ahead of him in that. He's like, there's a lot of guys ahead of him in this category. Joe Mixon is 3rd in rushing yards per game at 63.3. He's the first running back on the list. I eliminated Josh Jacobs because he only played 1 game. So his 80 yards, which would be first, but Josh Jacobs only played 1 game, doesn't count in my books. Jamar Chase is sixth in receiving yards with 93 because the Chiefs said Jamar Chase isn't beating us today. And then when the Bengals needed a touchdown to tie the game, they went one-on-one with Jamar Chase on a fade route. That Steve Spagnuolo should be fired for that dumb decision. Sorry, that's just dumb.
Not a good call.
Yeah. CJ. So now, what injuries do the Bengals have? CJ Uzama, the tight end who got hurt in the AFC title game. He says he plans to play, so which means he's probably banged up a lot, but he's going to play through the pain like a football player typically does. Jackson Carman, their guard, is hurt with his back. I don't know if that's going to help or hurt them because the O-line's bad to begin with. And then Cam Sample, one of the DNs, is questionable with a groin injury, and he did not play in the AFC title game. So hopefully he's healthy enough to go in the Super Bowl, but we will find out right before kickoff. So it'll be tight to see how if these guys play in the Super Bowl. Now, what are the key stories for the Bengals? The biggest one of all, will the Bengals win their first ever Super Bowl? That's huge. That's huge news. I mean, first Super Bowl ever is huge. I mean, the Rams' first Super Bowl was in our lifetimes when they beat the Titans in 2000, I think is what it was, 1999 season.
2000,
Yeah, so and I think Marshall Faulk won the Rich Eisen show and said the Bengals would be the Bungles until they win the Super Bowl, just like the Rams were nothing until they won the Super Bowl. So that's how that works in the NFL world, fair or not, but that's how that works. Now, one of my favorite stats, will Joe Burrow become the third player of all time and third Joe all time to win the national championship and Super Bowl? The other two guys do it, Joe Namath, Joe Montana.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That's a cool stat. That's a cool stat.
That would be a cool stat.
And now an actual storyline that is game specific. Can the Bengals protect Joe Burrow against this Rams D line? I mean, it matters because that's my biggest question.
It does.
That they can rush 4 and probably get him 12 times because the Titans rushed 4 and got Burrow 9 times. Although
that's true.
Bengals won that game,
that's true. Bengals did win that game, and as we've just looked, the Rams defense is tied for 4th in sacks. Yeah. So they're not it's not incredible the number of sacks that they're getting. The Bengals themselves have more sacks, and they don't have any forced turnovers. So it's I don't want to say that the D line is not a factor because it always is, but it's not proving, at least up to this point. Maybe it's just a testament to the teams that they've played already, but they're not proving to be as much of a factor as everyone expected. Everyone expected them to be lights out dominant and stopping everything that came toward them, which for the most part they have. Right. But no sacks, five sacks, no forced turnovers. Right. That's not hugely dominant. That's just getting the job done.
Right. And the thing is, teams know quick pass game. Just snap the ball, throw out a slant route, get completions. That is your strategy at this point in time. But we'll see how that plays out. We're actually going to get into this, who we think will win in a little bit. But we first have to give you the line for the game. Currently, it says at 4.5 in the Rams' favor. It was opening at 3.5 for the Rams. That line's jumped up a whole point. That tells you that the money line is everyone's betting on the Rams. That's what that tells you, people. That the people are betting Rams because you look at this. You look at the stats we just listed out. Rams have been significantly better than the Bengals in the playoffs. Yet the Bengals are here. It begs the question: do stats matter? They may not.
They may not, because I mean. And I know I just got done saying that the Rams were not as much of a dominant team, but look at their wins, 34-11, 30-27, 2017. The 34-11 against a very good Cardinals team.
Yeah.
You didn't have a huge win, a huge margin like that out of the Bengals. I mean, a 7-point win, a 3-point win, a 3-point win. It was same as the Rams, the 3-point wins to get there, but it was from teams coming back. It wasn't from the Bengals coming back or breaking a tie to get the win. I don't know. This is one of those questions that's real tough because the stats are all in for the most part in the Rams' favor. It's a home game for them, too.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't mean anything. The Niners were the home team last week. We were the home team 2 weeks ago. There were more Niners fans than Rams fans.
Well,
it's LA.
Aren't there normally, though?
It's true. True.
I don't know. But then again, you also have two quarterbacks who have not been in this position before.
No.
So in that regard, they're even.
Yeah. Yeah, so the thing is, for me, I like to break down X's and O's. What strategies we're going to see? I mean, the Rams' defense should not blitz ever. There's no need to blitz. They have no reason to blitz, and the problem is people are thinking that Jalen Ramsey is going to cover Jamar Chase the entire game. That may I don't think that's going to happen because Jamar Chase lines up. I think it's like 60% of his snaps are in the slot. So as long as Jamar Chase stays outside, he's going to get a double team, but not from Jalen Ramsey, which is going to play in his favor because he can probably beat the two Rams guys easily. I mean, the Chiefs had to use everything to stop him. They used their two best guys on him all night to slow him down, and even then, they forgot to double him in for a touchdown. So
when it matters,
when it matters, you can't forget him at any time. So if they keep Jamar Chase out of the slot, that's trouble for the Rams because that means Jamar Chase is probably going to get a double team, but not with help from Jalen Ramsey. And that's also going to keep things interesting. And the run game is going to be huge for the Bengals because they're going to need Joe Mixon to get the team going, much like the Niners did with their run game to just keep the clock chewing, keep the Rams on the offense on the bench, and what the Buccaneers should have done but didn't because, well, Byron Leftwich decided he was going to just sling the ball the whole game, and that almost cost them the game. So you got to play that smart. On the other side of the coin, the Rams can run the football and throw the football. Although Stafford sometimes starts off really, really cold, which they don't want to do against this Bengals offense. And so the Bengals defense can start off really, really cold, like we saw against the Chiefs. They couldn't stop a leaky faucet. They couldn't stop a leaky faucet in the desert with how bad they were in the first half of that game against the Chiefs. It was bad. And then they switched it. Second half, they stopped everything. They shut down Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs for essentially 3 quarters and said, you will score 3 points and that's it. Okay, that's impressive. So if they can figure that out in the first half, it might be game over. They might just win that game because that offense will eventually click. Like we've seen every game, Joe Burrow clicks in the second half and will do whatever it takes. He will shed Stone Cold Chris Jones, he'd be draped all over him, slip out, then Chris Jones would try to grab him at his feet, high step out of it, and get the first down. So Joe Burrow isn't losing this game if he's got any options other than dying, because you're going to kill him to stop him at this point. He's not losing without being killed. So I like this game a lot, guys.
I do too, and I think that this is one of the first. I mean, I was excited about last year's Super Bowl
that's fun.
Because of Tom Brady, but it's also exciting when you get teams that aren't normally here with guys that have never been here. I love seeing firsts, but I think going to your point, if the Rams do not get a significant lead in the first half, they will lose this football game because you've got the heart attack kid Joe Burrow, who is ready to break Rams' hearts, and he's proven himself to kind of be cool under pressure too. He may not necessarily overly produce in the first half or early on, but third, fourth quarters, he's dialed in. He's the same guy all the way through the game, but his hyper focus makes it so that he is ultra successful late in the game when more guys will show their fatigue or will start to get ahead of themselves, whether they're in the lead or behind. He keeps level the whole game, and that has been in his favor this entire playoffs.
Yeah, he just plays his game. He knows, okay, if it's not there, we need to find the check down eventually. The problem is he may not have time to get to the check down because the O-line may just may let him get shellacked, even though they're trying their hardest to block. But so it's going to be...
that's the other thing. If the D line of the Rams gets enough pressure on him, he's not going to have time to think, and so he's going to have to kind of just roll with things.
Which is what he did against the Chiefs. He said, all right, I can't get a block. I'm just going to roll out. Yep. And if I have to run. If I have to throw it, I'll throw it. I'll do whatever I have to do to win this game. So that plays in his favor.
He's very good at that.
I mean, Stafford's issue is he's got to go up. His O-line's not great, and the Bengals defense may just rush forward and say, hey, we're going to send 4 at you. Good luck blocking us. Because the Chiefs' O-line is better than the Rams' O-line. And the Chiefs' O-line could not block 4 Bengals rushers at all in that game in the second half. They just said, we're going to rush 3 or 4 and good luck stopping us. And they kind of did. And a lot of it was coverage checks. They just said, no, everyone's covered. Good luck throwing the football, and we're going to keep Giambi, Chris, Patrick Mahomes in the pocket all day and make him have to run around. And it worked. Now, Stafford, you don't have to put a spy because Stafford running, that's a rare feat. It's almost as rare as a Tom Brady scramble. Okay, that's about how rare it is. So it's gonna. I like it a lot. I love good matchups, and I'm just gonna use my pick right here. My brain says Rams. They have everything going in their favor. They have a better team, better roster. They have a better defense. If they don't give up, they don't fumble the ball 4 times against the Buccaneers. The Bucs aren't even in that football game. If the offense is clicking better in the first half, they blow out the Niners easily because the Rams defense just did their job. But the Bengals, my heart says the Bengals because Joe Burrow will not quit. That defense finds a way to figure it out in the second half, and the offense will do what it must to win that football game. And Joe Burrow just might be that dude. That he will lead the comeback of comebacks when he needs to most, and he might just be that next CB12 instead of Patrick Mahomes because Joe Burrow might have a little bit more of that fight, which is hard to say about Mahomes who just keeps fighting, but Burrow's just got that special fight, I think, where it's like, dude should be out of it, and he's just not.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Honestly, logically and statistically, the Rams are the favorite, and for good reason. So I would say that just on paper, the Rams make the most sense to win this game. And that honestly, that would be a great cap to Matt Stafford's career. But I'm with you that my heart wants Joe Burrow to bring home a championship to Cincinnati, and for that either one of these guys, it is now it's the earliest in their career that a number one drafted quarterback has made it to the Super Bowl, and the latest in his career that a number one drafted quarterback has made it to the Super Bowl. Year 2 for Joe Burrow, right?
Yep.
And year 13 for Matt Stafford. So either way, it is a milestone.
Yep.
And either way, we're going to get history will be made with this game, which is what was fantastic about last year too, is history was in the making and we watched it unfold. And I think that's what's more exciting about this game is it's historic no matter what. And so you can look at anything and everything during this game and appreciate it because it's all going to be part of one page in the history books when this is all said and done. But when you look at the end of the day, both teams with any one statistic, with any one day, with any 1 week could be favored but by the different perception that you have of that stat, of that day, of that week. So I think, and I honestly, I think that's evident by the fact that it's only a 4.5 point favorite, or 4.5. The line is Rams by 4.5, because that's kind of them saying like, oh, we're going to give them a little bit extra because a lot of people are betting on the Rams, but typically 3 or lower, they're expecting a pretty even game. Yeah. They're not even expecting a 7-point difference, is what they're saying. And so I think that even the talking heads want this to be a pretty even game and think that it will be. So I'm excited no matter what the outcome is, because I do truly think that both teams have a lot going for them and it will be even.
I agree. It's gonna be different because everyone's thinking the Bengals. No one picked the Bengals to beat the Titans. I think everyone's like Titans are gonna beat the Bengals. That's just called it. We were on that train too. Bengals won that game. No one thought the Bengals were gonna beat the Chiefs. No one thought that was gonna happen. We said it could happen, but we doubted because the Bengals had to play a perfect game, which they did not. Yet still win that football game. So the Bengals been counted out enough times. We're like, okay, enough of this. We're not gonna count them out again. We're gonna give them that fighting or chance because dang it, they've done their job and they needed to do it. So it's interesting.
But they like being the underdog too. They like being counted out because they know they're not.
It sounds like it's like the Eagles team from 2017 where they're the underdogs in every game in the playoffs and won the Super Bowl because they just said screw it, we're the underdogs and we're gonna win this game. Watch us. It's like,
Right.
Sometimes that mentality pays off. And also, I kind of want the Bengals to win because I have an aunt who, on my mom's side, who lived in Cincinnati for most of her life after she graduated college. So she's a Bengals fan. She's extremely excited that the Bengals in the Super Bowl. So it's kind of like that family connection with the Bengals to win. But it's also because I was like that Burrow kid. That Burrow kid has that heart that is just he's a dog, and you love the swagger. He just walks in, and he's like, and I think he was asked a question about the diamonds on his necklace because he wore a blinked up necklace to a game. He says, "I'm making too much money for these diamonds to be fake." It's like, okay, that's like Joe Namath type answer right there. It's like, okay.
That's some swagger there. That's some swagger.
Yeah.
And I think he's also been proving to be a natural leader
Yeah.
that the Bengals organization is following from the top down. They want him, they need him, and they're showing that with him at the helm, good things can happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
exciting stuff for Super Bowl 56. That is going to be Sunday, February 13th at 5:30 Central Standard Time, the best time zone in all the land. Taking your line there on NBC and Peacock at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, where Dude Perfect did just film their latest overtime episode because it was their overtime / Super Bowl edition. They got a two for deal there.
Well, they're also going to be at the Super Bowl with a lucky fan, so they're going.
That's true.
So it's kind of cool that they're going to be there, and it should be a lot of fun at the Super Bowl, provided that we have a good fan turnout, provided everyone's allowed to cheer, and provided we might have to do an over under how many minutes we watch the halftime show because if you put the over under of Chris watches the halftime for a minute, you would lose that bet. I'll probably be doing something else besides watching the halftime show. So I did the same thing last year. I put on mute.
Who is is it Eminem? Who's the halftime
It's a whole bunch of rappers and hip hop artists, and I'm like, and you know me, I'm a classic rock and roll guy. I'm going to be like, all right, mute, and where's the toilet so I can take a potty break? Let's put on something else. How about we watch it? I don't really care about
halftime. Like normally, like I'll kind of maybe watch it, but most of the time, halftime is for the commercials, food break, and that's about it. Yeah.
That's just how I feel about it. So if you want to put an over under on Chris and watches a minute of the halftime show, you might want to bet the under because that's what's going to happen, people. So with that being said,
it's a given.
Yeah, let's get into the outro. Please follow our Facebook page for more updates regarding the show, or if you have any questions regarding the show, or you can reach out to us at Sports and More with CT, capital C, capital T, at gmail.com. And that's always our email. I don't know whether we get many emails because we kind of don't check because we assume we're not going to see much because everything we do is kind of bleak looking into the email. Tom's actually checking right now because it's just one of those things where
I am checking right now.
It's one of those things where like, oh, do we get any emails in this email?
My. All right, so just a little thing. I haven't signed into our email on my new computer yet, so I can't even. I gotta even find our password. That's how little we check that email.
All right, we'll get into that after the show, and we'll let you guys know next week if we actually get emails in an email, or if it's just Google saying, "Hey, you have an email."
Hey, you have a new sign-in to your email. You can also go to our Anchor page, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or YouTube to download or watch this episode and any future episodes that we create. For those of you watching on YouTube, please click all the buttons all over the place. Like, subscribe. If they allow you to toggle that notification bell to all, please do it. But apparently we are children's content, so don't get it either. But you can't apparently get notifications for children's content. I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
We don't use this. We don't swear enough. That's the problem.
If that's the problem, I can fix that. I don't know if you're gonna like that, but I can fix that.
I'm sure your father wouldn't like you to fix that problem.
I don't think anyone would like me to fix that problem. It's not a problem that's worth fixing.
But we like to think all of you, probably the tens of people who listen to our ridiculous takes and on Oreos and the Super Bowl with the Rams and Bengals. It's a hard time saying that the Bengals in the Super Bowl. I don't know why. It's just not clicking in my head for some reason.
Just doesn't typically make sense. But Regardless, our next episode's creation date is to be decided. So keep an eye on the Facebook page for updates regarding that. I did do it. I did the update yesterday, so y'all got it early this time around. But until then, as always, stay safe, stay healthy, watch for ice, watch for deer, and above all, stay free. Happy National Pizza Day.
Woo woo. Sports and More with Chris and Thom is brought to you by no one. All non-original thoughts and ideas were properly noted during each segment.